I hope this series on the AI First Contact Center has inspired you to look into how you can make your contact center AI first. But let me give you a word of warning. Most people who I take through this thinking, the next question is, all right, so what platform should I buy? But remember, Gen AI is not a product. To deliver the kind of experiences I've shown and the kind of outcomes that a Gen AI and an AI First Contact Center makes possible, you can't just buy a product or a platform and think all your problems are going to be solved. Gen AI is not a product. To deliver an AI First Contact Center, you've got to consider the experience. What is the characteristics of the system, the persona, how will it come across? How do you design the interaction it's going to have with customers? Which AI models will you use? How will you engineer the prompts, the inputs into those models to get the right outputs? How do you make available to the chatbot or the voice bot the knowledge it needs to answer questions and integrate the APIs it needs to be able to get things done? And then you've got to think about the methodology. How do you dynamically prompt? How do you make the inputs dynamic to the model to get the right output? Will you use retrieval augmented generation to bring in information from knowledge bases? Perhaps you'll consider fine-tuning the AI so it's less likely to be drawn off topic and you can use a faster, cheaper model in production. To do that, you're going to need to generate a corpus of interactions that you can train the model on. And then you're going to need to do human evaluations to check that the system's performing well. But Gen AI isn't scripted. So you need to consider automated evaluation techniques where you can generate thousands of interactions to explore all the different possibilities and get yourself to a position of comfort that the system performs as you would hope it would in life. And then you've got to think about the infrastructure. Where's the speech to text going to live and what kind of speech to text system will you use? What AI hosting infrastructure will you use? What will you use for text to speech to produce the output of the system in the voice channel? What runtime framework will pull all these things together? Do you have a chat widget that you've got in mind? How do you stream the media from your contact center or from your telco to your voice or AI platform? And not to forget compliance. Of course, info security, data residency, data ownership, these are all very similar in AI to other domains, but often solutions are less mature than they are in other domains in these specific areas of compliance. And then, of course, we've got regulation, which is moving and changing. Redaction, so not storing personal data, because we do want to store the data. We're going to use that for tuning and improving the systems, but we don't want to have personally identifiable information in there. And we want to do red teaming. I've talked in this series about the risks and some of the bad outcomes people have had from deploying Gen AI. Red teaming is getting people, could be internal or external, could be automated, simulated interactions to really try and break your Gen AI voice bots and chatbots before your customers or competitors do. So Gen AI is not a product. And every aspect of delivering Gen AI solutions is evolving daily. So I implore people not to go shopping, but to go on a journey. And I break it down into 3 steps. First, you just got to get started with Gen AI. Find a small use case, perhaps a low risk use case, and deploy it. And then watch what happens. Look at the data, collect the data, of course, redact it to make sure you're not storing personally identifiable information. And then use Gen AI to really understand the content and quality of every single interaction your customers have had with AI or your agents have had with AI, and use those insights to drive your strategy. Ultimately, you need to get to a point where you're managing your AI workforce in just the same way that you manage your human agent workforce.